We're reading stuff all day long, right? Articles, emails, social media posts. But what if I told you that most of what we read has this hidden layer, a story that's not actually in the words, but tucked away between them? So today, we're going to learn how to see that hidden story.
The historian William Wilcox really hit the nail on the head with this one. Two people can see the exact same thing happen, and when they write it down, each story will have a totally different flavor. Their own unique perspective, their feelings, their biases, it all kind of leaks into the words. And this isn't just some old problem for historians. It's a challenge for any of us just trying to figure out what's real.
Which brings us to the big question, right? If every single account has its own flavor, how do we ever get to what actually happened? How do we separate the straight-up facts from all the feelings and the spin? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack.
Okay, let's kick things off with this really fascinating study. Researchers took the exact same piece of historical writing and gave it to two very different groups: top-of-the-class high school students and professional, honest-to-goodness historians. Now, you'd think they'd read it in a pretty similar way, right? Well, their reactions could not have been more different.
So here's the text they looked at. It's a little snippet from a standard American history textbook. It talks about embattled farmers, it calls the colonists who died patriots, and it labels the whole thing an atrocity. Seems pretty straightforward, right? Just a quick summary of the facts. But is it?
So, take a good look at it. If you had to rate how trustworthy this is, where would you put it? Do you think it's a solid, neutral source of info? Or do you get the feeling that maybe there's something else going on here? Really think about it for a sec, because the answer is pretty wild.
The results were just staggering. The students, including a guy with a perfect 4.0 GPA, said this textbook was the most trustworthy thing they read. They called it just the facts. But the historians, they ranked it dead last. Get this, they said it was less trustworthy than a work of historical fiction. Wait, what? How is that even possible?
Well, the answer comes down to this special skill that historians have. It's a way of reading that goes way beyond just the words on the page. It's almost like they have X-ray vision for texts. And it's the secret to figuring out what a piece of writing is really trying to do. And that secret, it's called subtext. Subtext is the meaning that isn't spelled out for you. It's the author's hidden goal. So a skilled reader isn't just asking, okay, what information am I getting here? No, they're asking, what is this text trying to do to me? How is it trying to make me feel?
And here's the key insight. For an expert, a text is never just sitting there passively. They see it as a speech act, which is just a fancy way of saying it's an action, like throwing a punch or giving a gift. Every single text is a tool that an author is using to try and achieve something, to convince you, to make you angry, or to get you to join their side.
All right, so let's put this idea into practice. We're going to go back to that textbook passage about the Battle of Lexington, but this time, we're not going to read it like a student. Nope, we're going to read it like a historian.
The historians saw it right away. They saw how certain words were doing all the heavy lifting. The author doesn't just say colonists, they say embattled farmers. That immediately makes you root for the little guy. They put the word rebels in quotes, which is like a secret signal that they don't agree with it. Then they finish the hero's story by calling them patriots. And the final emotional punch, the word atrocity. That's a powerful word, right? It's designed to make you feel outrage, not just give you information.
Once you see how it's built, you can't unsee it. This textbook passage isn't just a bucket of facts. It's a finely tuned machine, a social instrument, built to make you take one side in a conflict, all while pretending to be totally neutral. That's the stuff the students missed, and what the historians saw in a heartbeat.
And this skill, it's for more than just spotting bias in textbooks. It's also an incredibly powerful tool for reading stuff from the actual time period, for basically decoding the mind of the author. It's not just about dismissing persuasive writing. It's about understanding how it's working on you.
So let's look at another quick example from that same study. This is from the diary of Ezra Stiles. He was the president of Yale College back in 1775. He's talking about the Battle of Lexington, and he mentions that the British commander thought the colonists fired first. But listen to the word he uses to describe them: peasants.
Let's just pause on that for a second. Peasants. Why that word? He could have said farmers, colonists, rebels, anything else. What does that one specific kind of weird word choice tell us about Ezra Stiles, the man writing the diary? What's the worldview hiding inside that single word?
Oh, the historians jumped all over that word. For them, peasants was like a giant flashing neon sign. It just lit up the author's whole social standing. I mean, Styles was the president of Yale, a total elite. By using that word, he's creating this massive social gap between himself and the ordinary people fighting the war, kind of framing them as simple or uneducated. For the historians, that one little word was a key that unlocked the author's entire way of seeing the world. So here's the cool part. You absolutely do not need a PhD in history to start using this skill. You can learn to see the subtext, to read between the lines, and basically become a text detective every single time you read something. Here's your toolkit. It's a simple 4-step process. First, always source the document. Ask yourself, who wrote this and why are they writing it? Second, read the subtext. What's the hidden mission of this text? What is it trying to do? Third, analyze the language. Hunt for those loaded words, the peasants and atrocities. And finally, see the narrative. Figure out the story the author really wants you to buy into.
And why does this all matter? Because this is not just for old, dusty documents. This is a crucial skill for right now. You can use it to break down a news report, a political ad, that weirdly passive-aggressive email from your boss, or a viral post that everyone is sharing. In a world that's just flooded with information, knowing how to spot the hidden message, it's basically a superpower.
So the next time you read anything at all, an article, a post, whatever, ask yourself this. Are you just going to see the words on the page? Or are you going to be a detective and see the real story hiding behind them?